Good morning. Am I on?
Yeah.
Oh, good. So happy to see everybody. Welcome this morning. I hope everybody's risen. Happy Easter. A day of celebrating our union with that which is real inside of us and the rising up of that. And I have to say, an acknowledgement of the betrayal of being misled to think that that is outside of us and only happened for one person who was born a long time ago. And we can be grateful for knowing that truth. Knowing that truth. Because it gives us immeasurable courage to face our own lives and whatever happens in them with some degree of equanimity, because we know we are in our foundational source, that which is real, ultimate reality. It's not separate from us. God is not separate from us. Never was and never will be. She is alive and well in us. So let's meditate. Okay, take your attention inside, down below your belly button, and imagine a funnel. It feels almost like a tornado today, allowing us to drop our mind into the center of that tornado and follow our attention down below the belly button to that energy center and even into our pelvis as that becomes accessible, so that we feel our real grounding with the earth. Mother Earth welcoming us and our attention as we feel our union with her. As our striving becomes about connecting to the divine principle within us, more than a principle, divine source of everything that is deeply within us. Allow that attention to go very, very deeply, so that with your breath, you can feel into the space between the breaths, in the depths of yourself. Feel into the tip of your tailbone and allow your energetic sensitivity and awareness to spread into your entire pelvis, allowing the energy to expand with your breath. Feel the energy accumulating. Gently feel that accumulation begin to expand up to the energy center just below your belly button. Breathe into that space when you're ready. Understand we are deeply in the sacred space of ourselves. Made sacred by our sense of union. When you're ready, gently allow your attention to rise to the solar plexus. Breathe into that space, feeling for the space between the breaths. When you're ready, gently allow your attention to rise to your heart center. Breathing into that space. Allowing the heart to open, the chest to expand. Still all the energy below your neck. All your attention below your neck in your heart center. into that space and feel for the space between the breaths in the center of your chest. When you're ready, gently allow your attention to rise to your throat center. Breathing into that space and feeling for the opening. When you're ready, allow your attention to go to your third eye, behind and between your eyebrows. Breathe into that space. Feel for the space in between the breaths. Mm. When you're ready, allow your attention to move upward to the opening at the top of your head. Breathe into that space and feel it open. When you're ready, allow your attention to move to the space above your head. Allow the energy center there to show itself to you. It's roughly 8 inches above your head. Closer and further for different ones of us. Breathe into that space with pure gratitude, sacred space. As you become one with that which is our source, now feel into the circulation called the Great Celestial Circle as we breathe all the way from the top to the bottom of our energy and from the bottom to the top. And feel the pouring out of the abundance out of the top of our head. The energy circulates out and around and comes back up from the base of our spine, through the top of our head. Understand that this channel operates in 360 degrees around our body through the central channel. If at any point in meditation you feel fear of anything, just begin pulling white light from above your head and out your feet, and ask that anything that doesn't serve the highest best be washed out of your system. You can do that at any point in any meditation. For now, just feel for the circulation of the energy. From this expanded state, see if it's possible to open your eyes without leaving the expansion. It's like being two places at once and nowhere at all. Yes. We welcome your questions. Yes.
So I have been working with something for a while now. Part of my wish is to be on good terms with everyone that I know, that I have a relationship with. And so far, I feel as though most of the people that I know, my acquaintances, and that we have reached a place of connection and free flowing energy and there's nothing in the way at this point. The relationships are all different, but I feel as though I'm on good terms with the people that I know. There are people that are close to me, very close to me, that there are still things in the way. I feel that sometimes it's so obvious because of cutting remarks that are made to me in public, and it feels as though I need to do work. So I've been taking the matter to the Inasa Temple, and feeling as though it might take time, and I'm willing for it to take time, but I'm wondering if there's something that I could be doing in person directly. I know I will continue to work on myself and make it a safe space for people to be with me with whatever their concerns are. And I'm really open to any kind of cross forgiveness that could go on. But I'm not sure if direct contact face to face would be productive at this point. I have trepidation with that because I've seen how that can go horribly wrong, with defensiveness and reactions and that sort of thing. I would like, though, to finish up before I die is really the way that I feel. I would like to. Before my mom died, there was that equanimity and clear space. And I felt so fortunate with that. But I would also like that to be with my closest people, the closest circle to me. And I know I need some guidance as to how best to proceed.
This is a beautiful question, and it's important to all of us what the answer to this question is, because it really brings up what we can and cannot have control over in our lives. And we know objectively that we have no control over other people, what they think, what they say, how they behave. We have no control over it. And any attempt to bring our own concept of sanity to these people will be met with something other than love. We can just say it like that. So the real wound here is the one inside you that feels as though it must be possible to feel this amazing love inside yourself and share it with everyone you care about. And the horror, really the fantastic disappointment, the magnitude of that disappointment in not being able to share it, this amazing connection to source energy, is almost unbearable for us. With the people we care about. The pain is enormous. And our only response to pain is to understand that it's informing us of the truth of the situation, that we have been enormously gifted and we want to share that gift, but not everyone can receive it. And the magnitude of that discovery because once you begin to experience that on a more global level, then you see the magnitude of the diversity that exists. And then once you see the magnitude of that diversity, there is a point where you come to see that without the darkness, there can be no light. Without the contrast, there isn't life. There is source potential because, in a way, that place of equanimity and contact allows us to love everything as it is and understand that every being has its phases of perception. And that because our phase of perception is different, we, in a way, create interference for the other person in their process. When we engage from a level beyond their perception, at the wrong time. This is why we encourage work from the Inasa Temple and those who don't yet have the capacity to receive love, because they don't have the capacity to receive love. Anything that feels like love to them is misinterpreted. Anything that feels like love to us is misinterpreted as something else to them. And so our real power in that situation is to stay in the Inasa Temple and wish everyone well, including ourselves in our pain at having to make this choice. And that duality will persist until you reach the stage of choiceless awareness, when you are that love itself, and then you naturally radiate that into the environment. That's union. that make sense?
Yes, it's a very high goal. And it's where I want to be. I know I'm not there yet because I still feel that pain.
Choiceless awareness is not, it's the opposite of not feeling pain, actually.
Would you say more about that?
Well, you think love itself is not aware of pain? Love itself has no protection. We are not pretending that Rebecca lives in choiceless awareness. We are telling you that in the space of choiceless awareness, all hearts are welcome. Love and pain coexist. Joy and grief coexist. Choiceless awareness is exactly that. Everything is free to flow as it flows. There is no stopping of the flow by our own reactivity.
That's what I was wondering, because it's my reaction to the pain that I've had to work the most on. Um, I used to lose my temper in reaction to that. And now, not so much, but I still feel it really deeply.
Well, there are a number of questions that arise from these statements. So one is judging anger inside ourselves. There's an implied judgment of anger as bad in the way this was stated. And we're bringing it up because it's so common in us to do that we judge the reactivity that we experience, and any exposure of that reactivity in our daily lives as failure.
But the manifestation of that anger has always seemed to get me into big trouble.
Yes,
That lasts
we
for a long
do.
time and sends the other person, so far away.
They feel totally judged by that anger. So yes, we're not encouraging exactly reactivity. What we are encouraging is the letting go of self-judgment about it. Because what happens when we judge ourselves is that we put that reactivity into the dark side. And whenever things are put into the dark side, then we can't see them. And they end up magnifying exponentially until we bring them back into the light. We're not saying this exactly is what's happening with you. We're just saying that this is the principle. Okay, so then we go through a stage where we decide we're going to stop stop manifesting in that way. But then there's this huge energetic bundle that needs to be addressed in us that is still the reaction. And so the thing to do is to understand that that's energy, to completely allow the inner process of the anger. There's nothing wrong with anger, it's information. It's what we do with it, that energy, is the issue, and you understand that part. So what to do is to completely allow yourself to feel that anger. And in the allowing, something happens. The anger changes form. And were you in the anger in this moment, we would attempt to bring you to that change in form. Having understood that that change in form happens when you allow the anger in yourself, which you have understood, then you can easily understand from that perspective how the manifestation of that anger in the past has created waves and waves of reactivity that have yet to be recovered from in the other person. So you are seen as the source of their reactivity, although they don't understand that their reactivity is their own obstruction to their own feelings. So when a person is in that state, there's nothing you can do because you are perceived as the great instigator of reactivity in a certain way, even though the person would never know enough to to accuse you of that. But understand from that place, in the other person's perspective, there is nothing you can do on your end in this dimension that will have any favorable impact on them.
That's what I was asking.
Yes, there is nothing you can do except go to the Inasa temple. And you have to understand that when one begins interacting on the plane of energy itself, we are engaging another dimension of awareness that involves, and this is really, really important, because we don't want to try to manipulate love to our own ends. And so often when we go to the Inasa temple, we have an agenda. But in going to the Inasa temple, we leave all agendas at the door. And we only participate in the flow of love with great trust. But love has its own timetable. It has its own agenda. And it is far beyond human manipulation. So we take our faith, gratitude, hope, love, we take these things with us to the Inasa temple, and we fervently wish, which is the same as a prayer, for love to inspire this other person in our lives. And that's really the most we can do, is to pray for their highest best in their life. And it helps if we have no vision of what that is. Because we cannot, because of the reactivity and the chemistry between the two of us, we can't vision for them. Because they're different from us and they're in a different stage from us. And it would be disrespectful of their own process to intervene in any other way. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And so we bow to the divinity of love itself as we open inside ourselves to become more and more a vehicle for that love. But understanding that it is our limitation that often makes what we feel as love express itself from some agenda, which is exactly what we want to not do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, how do I find what my agenda is
Best
so
not
that
to
I could
worry
let it
about
go?
that. Best not to think, well, let's go a little deeper with that. What we'll say for now is to assume that there's an agenda that you aren't seeing. Always assume there's an agenda that you can't quite see,
Okay.
and ask to be informed of the highest. Because we're building, not destroying. And the idea that we have to destroy parts of ourselves to create other parts is not exactly right. What the inner work is connecting to the highest in ourselves. Whenever some negativity arises, complete acceptance of that. And in that complete acceptance, we will be informed of our agendas.
Would you say that again?
As we do our meditation and we begin to experience deeper and deeper levels of awareness within ourselves, parts of us that have not been addressed will appear. And when that happens, it's very important to allow them. We'll give you an example from Rebecca's recent experience. Often she has lucid dreaming experiences, and this was one of those, where she first invited fear in a particular situation, and then the fear evaporated. And she invited whatever had not been seen that was taboo. Using that word very specifically, it has a kind of resonance that goes into the past. And then what was invited was formless but dark, and expanding to allow that. And then the dissipation of that, nothing behind it, just energy, old energy, not yet digested. So you can see what we mean by allowing. And then the allowing itself shows the truth or non-truth of whatever is being allowed. And then we're getting into the space of beyond words. Does this make sense?
Oh, yes. I've called what I think you're talking about ruthless awareness, but I mean courageous awareness, which means to me letting whatever is show itself. And a lot of times it feels really humiliating to see it straight on, but that's only temporary. Most of the time it's like, oh, good, I've cleaned out that closet. Or that it's gone away now. It's moved along or accepted or whatever.
Can you go into that humiliation? Can you find that?
Say that again?
That humiliation, that however long it lasts, that humiliation, allowing that to arise and completely become that humiliation in the moment,
Yeah.
completely allowing it is the path through it.
Yeah. That's what it feels like. It feels like the space has been cleared in front of me or around me or wherever, but the clutter, and it's kind of usually old, musty clutter, it disappears. I'm left with the awareness of whatever it was that was humiliating, but it's acceptable. It's swallowable. I can own it.
Well, because you're talking in past tense, we can't really work with it. We can only say yes to that. In a moment where that becomes present tense, this is where the work is. We are not saying this to in any way downplay the value of what you're bringing. What we are saying is that we can be helpful in the present tense of these moments. Does that make sense?
Yes, but usually it happens during meditation when I am by myself.
Can you go to meditation by yourself in this moment and allow that to happen?
Whoa, I don't know. Hmm.
Now, we have never done this in a public program before, but this is how we would like to work, if possible, with all of you. Because this is where the real rubber hits the road.
Okay. I, I can sense what that is, and I don't know how to get there from here.
That is completely honest. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Just allow that. And see what arises.
The thought that came was, girl, you need to practice. But I'm not sure what I need to practice at this point.
Well, that's resistance. Ask deeper, what do I need to practice?
I can do that.
Mm-hmm. What comes up?
Wow. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. How may we serve further? This is so wonderful. So we're going to share a little bit about this process. One of the things that Rebecca came to know from living in an ashram for a very long time is that other people see us. They completely see us. And we have the illusion that if we don't talk about it, it doesn't exist. When you live around enough people long enough, you realize that we sort of have tacit agreements that we protect each other's illusions about ourselves. And so there's a limited level of honesty that creeps into our interactions. So if we really want to know the truth, we have to understand, first of all, that we are completely seen, that there is no hiding any of it. And we won't say your name because we're trying not to say names, but to the one who spoke, we're not speaking just to you. We're speaking to everyone who's watching this, past, present, and future, that we are all completely seen by those around us. And the illusion that we give ourselves that we are not seen is just that illusion to give us some sense that we have privacy. That's not real. Everything can be seen to greater and lesser degrees, depending on who's looking. And when we understand that the goddess sees everything, so there is then in that understanding no protection. And the discovery of that is, first of all, a kind of horror that we've been seeing. And then after that comes a kind of resignation, like, oh, yeah, everything is seen. And then the next level of that is, so everything is seen. And a kind of acceptance that is not a resignation, but it gives us a knowledge that everything is seen. And so if everything is seen and forgiven already, why can't we forgive ourselves? Why can't we love ourselves if we are loved in spite of everything? Maybe even because of everything, because all parts are welcome. This is how we grow. All parts are welcome. We begin to embrace everything inside of us because we know it is the key to a greater understanding. The most horrible parts of us, the most horrible parts of our ancestral past, they are part of us. All to be seen, met, totally. What do you do when you meet yourself in a dream and you're carrying a gun aimed at another person? This exists in every single one of us. And it's our resistance to the awareness of this that makes us polarized. Every joy and every horror exists within us already. Pretending that it doesn't save us from it. And from the big picture, life is contrast, all these contrasts expressing themselves in the same moment. We are building the capacity to live from that moment, where all parts are welcome and alive at the same moment. And in that awareness, there is a profound stillness at the same time. This is our invitation. Seems like the right time for meditation. It's a little bit early, but yes, let's just go there. We have completely enjoyed being with you today. Let's sit and continue. Oh. Thank you so much. We also want to take a minute to thank you for your generosity. You know, many of you, everybody here has made donations over the years, and we are so appreciative that you're willing to support on a material level. It makes a huge difference. And we don't talk about it much because it's not because we don't appreciate it. It's because we don't want to make it mandatory. We don't want to require that because it doesn't seem right to have a financial exchange for something that is so beyond material. At the same time, we can't maintain without that support. So it's difficult to know how to be in service to both of those polar opposites. And so we just wanted to take a moment to express appreciation on a day that's really about gratitude for that potential union that every human being has. And so we want you to know that it really makes a difference. It really helps. And we're totally, totally grateful. So just wanted to say that so that you really know. Thank you so much. Till we meet again. Bye for now.